jschlatt gets rocked by Cowboy Junction. In the depths of a cave, a starving businessman mines in hopes of finding a gold to produce Schlatt coin. It was late at night, and Jebediah Schlatt, that's not his name, whacked away
I
slowly
know.
but surely with his heavily outdated stone pickaxe. It's not like he was in a hurry. He never was. He walked instead of running. He never did more than what was the basic minimum. So, as a businessman, this attitude of his heavily influenced how he worked with his customers. He would practically beg he would practically beg them to give him 20 diamonds for a false promise that they would get one of his coins. Of course, they would never get them. It was his own little scam. In Schlatt's eyes, it was the greatest scam he has ever done.
This lazy attitude had plagued one of Schott's customers as they watched from behind him. Or whatever. Snuck behind a corner was a man who was stalking Schlott in vengeance. After all, this man fell into his trap and he gave his diamonds away. It's been months since he got an update on the product and he paid for it. The final straw that broke the camel's back was the man that hearing Jebediah recently went on a 2 weeks vacation. Instead of fulfilling his end of the bargain, he was utterly enraged. The man who was equipped with a backpack and wore a hoodie to mask himself quizzically as Schlatt mined out the 10th block of the night. Side whipped out a water bottle, leaned up the wall to take a break.
Hey, the man called out in anger. Schlatt looked in his direction as a man walked out from behind the wall. Hey, you!
Jschlatt chuckled. Oh wow, another one, huh? It's been the fifth one this week, he thought to himself. He sneered and put his water bottle on the ground. He faced the man and noticed that he was wearing a particularly dark hoodie that covered his face. He raised an eyebrow and crossed his arms.
It's been 5 months since I paid you. Where's my effing coin? The man yelled out while pointing at Schlatt. He took a step forward.
jschlatt put his arms up in defense. In a snarky manner, he commented, Whoa, whoa, as I said then, and I don't even remember you, he said quickly. You'll get the coin when it's ready. You just have to have the patience. He picked up his pickaxe and faced away from the man. He began to mine out another block when he was shoved face first into the wall.
No! I said, where's my coin? The man yelled into Schlatt's ear, causing him to cringe as he held the man flat against the wall. Schlatt dropped his axe and put his arms up to signal defeat. He was starting to get a little worried as his ram horns were too close to the wall for comfort. His ears tilted back and he felt a dribble of sweat trickle down his tan and fuzzy forehead.
Hey, hey, he whimpered as he felt something sharp at his side. I don't have it on me, I swear to you. He looked down past his arms to see an iron sword poking at it into his side. Where did he even get that from? He seemed empty-handed when I looked at him.
Schlatt held in a groan of pain as the sword was digging deeper into his side. I'll do anything, man. Just let. He signed as the sword dropped to the ground with a clank. Thank you. Schlatt whispered to himself right before he was violently flipped around. His arms were pinned up against the wall by the man wearing the hoodie.
God.
Anything? Anything? The man sneered, looking into Schlatt's terrified eyes. Jebediah, I'm gonna just call him Jason. Jason's eyes grew wider and his ears titled back even further when he understood what was going on. It was either this, or well, he didn't know what the other option was. Schlatt audibly gulped.
Uh, Anything, he said sheepishly. The man's legs trying to avoid eye contact. The man let go of Schlatt's arms and took a couple steps back. The man chuckled as he watched Schlatt remove himself from the wall and clutch his left arm tightly in embarrassment. Let's just get this over with. Just let me just let me lay my head on your backpack so I don't escape. Scrape my horns up on the ground. That's the only thing I want. He let go of his arms and looked into the man's dark eyes.
Anything for you, pillow princess. The man
Well, look
chuckled
how
and
much
put his
back.
backpack down. Slap moved the backpack behind them, and he sat down in front of it. The man stood in front of the ram and started fiddling with his belt. Slap frowned at the man's cock as it bulged out in his boxers. Firstly, He noted the man's race. He's white.
Oh no. The man
Oh
got his
Yeah,
no.
lip
but you got the
free,
beat.
and it startled Schlatt, who was lost in thought. Suck it. Make it slick. The man said slowly. Schlatt's ears stayed back as he went closer to the man's larger than normal sized junk. He opened his mouth a little and made contact with his tongue. It was sweet? Not honey sweet, but it had a little taste. It tasted like a man, obviously. Schlatt knew what guys tasted like. it was it was different. He felt himself getting red in the face as he opened his mouth wider and put the tip of his cock in his mouth. His tongue swirled around it when he then grazed his tongue across the slit. He heard the man above him groan in pleasure, and he felt himself getting warmer in the face. He was almost enjoying it. Obviously, he didn't enjoy the situation he was in, but there was nothing that Jay liked more in the world. He pushed himself further past the head and began to suck, moving up and down against the large shaft. His ram horns that extended a little past his face made constant contact with the man's thighs. To water. Wait, yeah. The man continued to groan and he clutched, no, grabbed the ram's horns, pushing him further into his
Oh,
cock. The ram choked and his eyes began to water. He moaned for Christ's sake, and was letting himself be pushed up and down the man's length. He grasped for air for around 30 seconds when he was shoved back with a satisfying pop and tumbled back. Leaning up against the backpack, he set it behind himself.
this all started because the man wanted a Schlatt coin.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
sighed and his legs were shaking. He felt the pain in his groin and looked up at the man. That's good enough, the man growled. Schlatt made a small smile. His face turned a darker shade of red. He found it hilarious that the man was trying to act tough in front of him, even when he was moaning from Schlatt's talents. Lay down, Schlatt obeyed. He rested his head on the backpack after shuffling around trying to get comfortable. The man chuckled and started to remove the ram slacks. Sorry.
Why do you wear a suit while mining? The man laughed.
Just take off my pants already. jschlatt stopped himself. He was going to say that he wanted it to be over with as soon as possible, but he knew that was a lie. This could he, he- this could go on forever and he wouldn't care. Well, he would care. Oh, never mind.
The man removed Jay's pants as slow as painstakingly possible. The ram groaned and took them off of himself as he tossed them aside. Someone's needy.
Oh, shut up, he pouted. Says you, Jay commented.
Jayshell's boxers were subsequently removed as well, faster this time. The boy looked down at his thighs as they were pulled apart and lay next to the man. The man kneeled between his two legs and Jschlatt's cock twitched. He felt himself breathing heavily, feeling himself more turned on. The man before him spat on his fingers and inserted a digit into J. The ram covered his face with his arms and shuddered. He gasped while the air began to move inside of the finger began to move inside of him. It's what's happening? Rika, shut up. the inside. It soon stopped, and another finger was added, scissoring his hole wider. Jschlatt bit his lip as he felt himself getting the smaller. Felt himself getting hot. He felt a knot building in his tummy and shuddered again. He didn't want to admit he was thoroughly enjoying this. The man looked down at the smaller ram and he pushed up Jay's shirt, trying to get more grip so he could build traction inside of him. Schlatt removed his arms from his face and pulled up the man's arm on his stomach forward so that it began to touch his chest. The man chuckled and began to play with one of Schlatt's nipples. Jay put his Jay put his arms above his head, closed his eyes, and started to take in the sensation. The man's movements quickened, his fingers thrusting deeper in him while he stimulated from his chest.
Jay saw white as his eyes shot open. He gasped loudly from his leg, and his legs shot up from the ground. Schlatt's finger and feet began to feel tingly as he breathed out a shaky moan. Third, Schlatt barely heard. Then he saw white again and again, again and again. He moaned louder and louder and louder and louder. His moans were getting caught by other moans as he felt himself reaching for his own. Nope. The man with the hand was fondling Jay's chest, took Jay's arms, and held them above his head. The ram cried out when the fingers removed from him, tears flowing down from his cheeks. Sorry, tears flowing down his cheeks. He breathed and looked pathetically up at the man who was beginning to lean over him. The man held his and positioned himself to Jay's hole where he slowly entered. This is quickly turning into the last one.
Yep. Liam.
Wait, what? What? Where are
Jschlatt
we?
felt. Jschlatt felt his back.
Oh yeah. Jschlatt felt his back arch as he began to feel fuller. It felt like forever when he felt the man stop moving into him and settle, letting the ram get used to the sensation. He mewed in pleasure and rested his face against the arm that was holding his arms above his head.
This good? The man asked while gripping the ram's hip. Jay nodded and felt his stomach tug as the man started to move. Slow but steady. Jay was surprised. He thought the man would be rough at first. No, Jay was wrong. The man quickened his pace and Schlatt moaned louder this time. He was staring down at the man who was fucking him, watching his cock bounce against his crotch. He giggled like a little girl and moaned again, his eyes going into his head. The man kept hitting his prostate over and over. Oh
Yeah.
God. Jay's thoughts muddled and became foggy as his mind filled with pleas, begging the man to go faster and hit his prostate harder.
God. The man stared down at the wreck. The boy had his arms above his head. Fingers wiggled unknowingly. As well, the ram looked up at the rocky cave ceiling as he unknowingly begged for more. Schlatt begged. He begged for the man to go faster as he. I believe that's the word? Oh,
Reciprocated.
reciprocated.
Liam?
Jay looked down at his entrance, being abused and grinned. He was drooling all over himself with pleasure. He arched his back again when the man pounded his prostate even harder. He laughed in pleasure. And the man removed his grip on Jay's hands and put his hand on the ground, in between the crook of Jay Schlatt's neck and his shoulder. The ram's hand shot to hug the arm and stay close to the man who was making his legs shake and feel like jelly.
The man groaned in pleasure and quickened his pace further, ignoring Schlatt's loud moans echo throughout the cave. As he abused the ram's prostate more, he heard Jay Schlatt's moans quicken. His legs wrapped around the man's back to push him further in. He felt the walls of Jay's holes tighten. They both were getting close to climax.
You guys meet yourself early. That's why it's cutting out. Jay shuddered
Oh,
over and over. The feeling the knot in his stomach grew stronger and stronger. He shut his eyes and closed his eyebrows. As his eyebrows furrowed, he tightened his hug around the man's arm as he felt a powerful ripple travel along his spine as white flooded his vision.
The man thrusting into him heard the loudest and prettiest moan he had ever echo in the cave, a moan that would plague his wet dreams for the rest of his life. Fireworks crackled in Schlatt's head as he released his pleasure in large white streams that painted his tummy.
The fireworks slowed down as Jay felt the man fill him up with warmth. It was a large thrust that made a small bulge appear on the ram's stomach. The man slowed his pace while coming, and soon pulled out his cock with a pop. The man let Jay Schlatt hold onto his arm while the ram slowly regained awareness. Cum leaked out the boy's ass, and his legs fell to the ground.
The man soon moved his arm away from Schlatt, and his arms fell to the ground as well. Held on onto the boy's hips, loosened as well, as the man who effed him got ready to leave.
Jay Schlatt was spent.
The man got up and put his pants back on, swiftly removed his backpack from under the ram's head.
Oh, alright, if I don't get my coin in the next 2 weeks, I'll be back. The man said as he began to exit the cave.
Looking forward to it, jschlatt thought as he stared at the ceiling, dazed.
The end.
Alright, that was.
Alright, notes. Kill me if you wish, but you shall fail.
I love this.
I hate this so much, but it's so fun.